We all know that real estate has created more millionaires than any other industry on the planet. We also know that it has created a lot of heartache due to mismanagement, overborrowing, and just simple life events that happen to all of us. Welcome to the Cash Flow Pro podcast. My name is Casey Brown, and I am your fearless leader. And although we might be bourbon sipping and at times foul-mouthed Southerners, we will always do our best to be honest, straightforward, and due diligent with all of the information we pass along to you. Welcome to the show. Hey there, and welcome to today's episode of Cash Flow Pro, your daily real estate investing podcast and YouTube channel. I'm here today with Adrian Pannozzo of Executive Properties Capital. And Adrian and I were just talking a little bit before the episode, and we were talking a little bit about the BRRRR method that everybody's so into and wants to talk about nowadays. And Adrian, how are you today?
I'm awesome. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely, man. We're always glad to have our good friends in Toronto on our podcast, so we can see what's going on up there and get a feel for what real estate's doing pretty much everywhere else. But I'm sure you have deals in the States. But anyhow, so Adrian's from Toronto, and he's going to tell us a little bit about his backstory, where he came from, how he got to where he's going, or how he got to where he's at and where he's going from there. So Adrian, tell us a little bit about where you came from.
Yeah, thanks for sure. So at the young age of 23 years old, I was hired with the police department in the GTA, and something I always wanted to do while I was a young guy. Way back in grade 1, I always looked at cops and it's like, yeah, I want to do that. So I got hired with the police department at 23, and about 10 years into my career, I started 10 years on, I started thinking, okay, so when I retire from policing, what do I want to like? I want to live the same lifestyle, even though I'll be on a reduced income because I'll be on my pension. So how do I kind of live the same lifestyle even after I put in my 30 years on the job? How do I live that same lifestyle? So I thought, okay, I need to bring in more income. And I thought, what, safer place to invest money in other, real estate. Yeah. So, okay, if I get 1 or 2 rental properties, that should produce some cash flow. And from that, I can, when I retire after my 30 years, I'll be able to live the same lifestyle as I do now. So I was 36, 35 years old. I bought my first rental property. And, back then we didn't have any money. We didn't have any money in the bank at all. But we did have equity in our home. So we refinanced our principal residence. Okay. Pulled that equity out on a line of credit. Okay. And we used that. I want to say, back then we started with, I think we were able to pull out $200,000. Okay. On a line of credit. Sure. And I used that 200 to buy my first 3 rent. I ended up buying 3. But remember, I started thinking I just want 1 or 2 bit of cash flow, subsidize my pension. Well, I used that 200 to put my down payments on 3. And 3, things were going well and stuff like that. I was still a cop, so I'm buying.
What year is this?
So it was about 11 years ago. So what are we? 22. So 2011.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everything we talk pre-07, post-07. It seems like that's the big dividing factor. So I always want to try to see how we can nail people in and figure out which time period they're talking about.
Yeah. So I want to say it was around 2011, 2010, 2011.
Okay.
Yeah, we bought those 3 using the line of credit. And again, still working as a cop, raising a family, the whole 9 yards, taking care of the properties, meeting new tenants, screening tenants, cutting the grass, doing everything on my own while I was still on the police force. And then, so cash flow's coming in, and I started to really, really enjoy it. And I thought, okay, well, I don't want to stop now. This is going well. It's becoming lucrative. Like, why don't we start to partner with people and continue to build this portfolio that we started, even though I still had a full-time job. I guess with the, police and fire department, we get a lot of time off.
Sure.
So I really never had a day off, because even if I was on a day off with police, I would be taking care of stuff, looking for new deals, this and that. And ultimately that led us to continuing the portfolio and joint venturing and partnering with like-minded investors.
Sure.
Again, still working full-time and everything like that. So I'll fast forward.
Okay.
10 years later, and the light bulb went off, and like we're growing, we're buying properties together with JV partners.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, I created a lot of cash flow coming in, which enabled me to leave the police department early.
Okay.
So rather than sticking around and putting in my 30 years and then having a full pension, I stayed till 21 years of service.
Okay.
So at 21 years of service, and obviously now having more properties and cash flow and partnering with different people, financially I was able to leave early after 21 as opposed to my 30. And from there, really scaled the company. We obviously became a full-time investor, created a business out of it, joint venture partner business, and really honed in on the BRRRR strategy for my clients and my partners.
Now go ahead and just for the listener that may or may not know the BUR strategy, go ahead and maybe tell us what that is and define it a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. So buy, renovate, refinance, rent, repeat. So basically what we did was we honed our expertise on that strategy. So what do? We look for distressed properties that are typically structurally sound, but cosmetically are a disaster. Okay. They're 70, 80 years old, and not a thing's been done on the inside for 70 years. So like original kitchens, original this, original that, on and on and on. So we look for those properties at a discounted price, and then we obviously renovate them, bring them up to snuff, and modernize them, refinance them, call the bank back, okay, renovations are done, come reappraise the home now. And then our goal is to force the appreciation in that house so much through really, really good, deep renovations that ultimately we can extract all of the renovations, all of our down payment, all of our carrying costs, closing costs. We get it all back.
Yep.
And then I like to say,
and rent some, right?
Exactly.
And rent it, and the rent takes care of the equity, basically the equity building rather. So, wow. I mean, and where so obviously, again, you being the post 07, 08 era of this learning curve, where you and again in 12, 13, 14, though that time you probably still had a decent amount of foreclosures, I would say, around to buy or
there's always there was great opportunities for sure.
So where are you recently, like your most recent deals, where are you finding those, and how are you kind of now geographically speaking, are you pretty much are you basically anywhere where there's a deal, or do you stay in certain markets? That needs to be the first question, because then that way gives us some context to say then where are you finding the deals within those areas?
Yeah, for sure. So we're looking for deals pretty much in the GTA. I'm from Toronto, Canada. Okay. Pretty much in the GTA. We're finding, being in the space now for 11 years, we built up quite a reputation. So we get a lot of off-market leads. Sure. Hey, I heard you guys do this and do that. Are you interested in coming to look at my, distressed or whatever? We're getting a lot of tips off-market. Okay. And then we also buy stuff on the market. we can look at a property, and again, I should mention a lot of our stuff, or pretty much all of our stuff, is all multifamily.
Okay.
We're typically not buying single family homes or condos, stuff
Did you
like
start
that.
with single family? No, it's always been multifamily.
Because
Okay.
I was always attracted to cash flow, right? And obviously,
Yep, absolutely.
3 units is going to produce cash flow more than a single family or a condo and whatnot.
Yep. You're
So
exactly spot on.
focusing on that across the GTA in the multifamily space, both on and off market, and being in the game for 11 years, we've really honed our expertise on the numbers. Like
Right.
we're really running numbers and underwriting deals at a very high level where we can come to our partners, our joint venture partners, and say, hey, here's the deal, here's the Excel spreadsheet. Let's go through these numbers together. Here's our purchase, here's our renos, here's our new rental income, here's our after repair value. And we're running those numbers at a high level, and we're very consistent delivering. Like I say, it's pretty much infinite return on your investment.
Because you can almost show them right up front, hey, this is the return. This is going to be the return once this whole process has taken place. Now, are you for your JV partners and stuff that come in with you? Which joint venture partners is what just for the listener that may be wondering what JV is, and GTA, I'm assuming, is Greater Toronto Area.
Yes. Sorry.
Okay, so the JV partners that you bring in, and are they looking for an exit strategy, or are they just basically owners forever with you, or how does that look when you first set that up?
Yeah, good question. So we are more of a long-term wealth, generational wealth kind of play company. So we ask for a minimum of 5 years investment. And then we can buy each other out on the back end. Or like I said to them, a lot of times, a lot of the JV partners, I said, hey, the capital is being returned. We're getting our money out on the back end, on the exit, on the refinance. So we still cash flow. We still have debt pay down from the tenants.
Yep.
Cash flow, debt pay down, passive appreciation. And there's really little to no money left in the deal on the exit. Yes. We don't need to sell it. Yep. Right? And obviously, when we refinance properties and we pull that equity out, it's tax-free here in Canada.
What's the same here if you refinance? If you refinance and hold the asset, the equity that you pull out, you're not being taxed on until that asset, transfers.
It's sold.
Entities or sold or whatever the case is.
Exactly. So, same as here.
Yep.
So you got no money left in the deal. You got a new product. You're cash flowing, debt pay down from the tenants, tax free. We don't need to sell it.
Sure.
It carries itself plus some.
Yep.
We don't need to sell it. And like I said, obviously if somebody came by and offered us, $10 million, okay, fine. Yes. Never say never. Sure. But, on a regular basis, we typically like to hold the assets for a very long time. Yes. And accumulate that long-term wealth by investing in real estate.
Yep. And so you just leave the JV partner in there as a partner, and you just carry it on until now are you operating through, are your investors? So I'm trying to think about because in Canada, the landscape looks just a little different, I think, when you're raising private capital, right? Do you all have, what's the entity structure look like?
So they're bringing capital.
Okay.
We're the sweat equity partner.
Okay.
The expert partner in facilitating the BRRRR. Yes. We're utilizing our sister company. So we own our own construction company.
Okay.
We own our own property management company that works in unison together to facilitate these results. So they're bringing capital. We're utilizing all of our expertise in our companies to deliver the amazing BRRRR. And then at the end of the rainbow, we're 50-50 partners on the property.
Gotcha. Okay. And that's after everything's refinanced and
capital back to the partner. Yes. Now we're cash flowing. We got a new product, property management's in place. Essentially, like our investors, we like to pride ourselves. We do it all. Our investors essentially don't lift a finger, don't do nothing, never speak to a tenant, never.
Yeah, that's the
Please.
goal. I mean, that's what everybody wants to do, and that's again, yeah, that's the majority of our draw for new investors is exactly what you just said. I mean, they basically don't lift a finger. They go on about their way, and again, that's the whole basically the definition of passive income. I mean, for all everything included there. I mean, it's just you just forget about it. Here it is. I just get mailbox money.
That's it.
So so at this point right now, how many doors do you all manage or own or are partnerships with? How does that look right this minute as we speak?
We You kind of got fuzzy there for a second. Can you say that again?
Oh, how many doors do you all have right now, like under management, or what does the current state of the business look like?
Yeah, so we just purchased another couple properties in partnership. So we're at 70 properties and 372 units.
Man, that's great. So somewhere around four like quadplex, like 4 units per property or something like that.
A lot of them are triplexes, fourplexes, ranging anywhere also in the apartment building space from 6 units, 12 units, 45 units. So we're also in the apartment building space as well, and as small as a duplex.
Hi, this is Casey Brown, host of the Cash Flow Pro podcast and YouTube channel. Have you been thinking about investing in real estate but just don't know where to begin? I'd like to help by inviting you to check out our website at www.3000capital.com. There you will find an array of material that will help you learn all about real estate syndication. And while you're there, be sure to check out our free video series download titled 5 Must-Know Keys to Success in Passive Real Estate Investing. I'd also like to personally thank you for making Cash Flow Pro part of your day. Now, back to the show. Man, that's awesome. That's a killer strategy. I mean, it kind of just, and that's the whole thing. And what I love about your story is that the fact that you were just regular ground pounder, worker, patrolman, whatever, police officer. And again, I don't mean for that to sound like but I'm just saying you were just working a regular job, and now you're owner, manager, property manager, builder, construction man. I mean, all of that post working a W-2 type job, and that's such a take on that is that like it's possible for anybody. I mean, if you can sit there, all you have to have is a little bit of vision and take a little bit of action to start. And again, you all capitalized on the initial rise in the market value of your principal residence. So capitalizing off of that and saying and realizing that, hey, maybe this is something we can build post everyday work life. And I mean, that's like, I mean, that's I guess we'll call that the Canadian dream instead of the American dream now, right? I mean, it's just what dreams are made of. And so many people get up every day and they're like, how do I find my way out of having to go work for the man? And I mean, there it is. He just gave you a blueprint for the listeners out there that are wondering where or what you can do to set your sights out further than your W-2 job. There it is. Now, I don't know that you all call it a W-2 job in Canada, but what I'm getting at is the everyday worker becoming something great like what he's done here. So now, with all of that being said, how many investor partners do you have? Do you continually go back to the same pool of investors? Are you bringing new investors in, or how does that look?
We do get a lot of repeat investors because, again, when you deliver these high results, a lot of it's rinse and repeat kind of program.
Yes. I mean, they're getting their money back, so just turn around and put it right back in.
And if they have aspirations to start building that portfolio of 2, 3, 5 properties or whatever case may be, the BRRRR strategy allows you to do that, again, in partnership with us, rinsing and repeating your capital. So we
Sure.
do have, obviously, a lot of our business is referrals and repeat, really, because it's like, wow, Adrian, that worked. That's amazing. Okay, let's do it again. All right, find me another property. Okay, let's go. And
That's right. I mean, just rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. And so, yeah. Now, you had made mention earlier of the majority of I don't remember. You didn't even know if you gave a percentage, but the majority of your deals are off market. Now, how do you manage that? Like, where when you say off market, I mean, are you all just getting referrals from people like that know that you're going to come in and that hey, I know this guy that'll buy this place or something like that?
for the most part, yeah. So we built up a reputation, obviously,
Sure.
and a lot of the people that contact us know we close deals,
Yeah.
right? We
Yeah.
don't kick tires. We don't. Our people are qualified. We're not wasting time and this and that. We close deals. So
Yeah.
um, we get a lot of people coming to the table asking us, hey, I got this. You got somebody? Are you interested in this property? So we get a lot of tips off market in that regard.
Man, that's great. And then that way, because, and a lot of times, and that's even true in the United States. I mean, we close deals. I mean, you heard him right there. We close deals. And that's what a lot of times people are looking for is they don't maybe necessarily not want to go on market to because of one reason or another, but then they're like, hey, if I just don't even have to fool with it, like if this guy will come in here, look at this property and just say, hey, yeah, I'll take it, then kind of that's the end of the line. I mean, you take it, write a check or whatever the case is, and close it. Now, do you involve bank financing in the beginning, or for the most part? I mean, do you all tend to handle that a different way? How does that look?
Well, obviously, as long as the property's habitable,
Yeah.
not that far gone, as long as it's habitable, we do traditional bank financing for
Okay.
the purchase. If it's so far gone, like we've purchased properties that were charred inside because of a fire
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
major water damage, and it's not habitable, then
Okay.
obviously we're looking at hard money lenders
Sure.
to for the purchase, and then ultimately once the project's done, we'll refinance for a traditional lender.
Sure. And the hard money lending landscape, I assume, is much the same there as it is in the States. You call them up, and then they basically just loan on the deal, right?
Yeah, every deal is obviously different, and they'll ask us a bunch of questions and want to know exactly about the deal and so on and so forth.
Sure, sure. Now, I've been just as of recent been asking my guests a few just kind of just off the cuff questions as far as like just to get some insight into what you do in your daily life and what's some things about you that people may want to know. And I guess the first one of those questions is what's your favorite book that you've ever read, whether it be about real estate investing or whether it be about life or whether it be about whatever it is. What's the best book you've read?
I like the one from Grant Cardone.
He's written several. Which ones
The
are
one he's sitting on a plane, at the front of a plane, and it's
yeah.
be obsessed or be average.
Yep.
Is that it?
Something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that. That's probably one of my favorites, and I really resonated with that book because it's been a great journey. It all hasn't been roses,
Sure.
and it's been a ton of hard work. And I really adopted that mindset of being obsessed.
Yeah.
And
Be obsessed or be average. That's right.
that's it. Be obsessed or be average.
Yeah.
And I really adopted that theory and mindset with my real estate investing business and career. Obviously, we've turned it into a business. And I think with that mindset, it really, like, again, rewind 11 years ago, did I ever think, I never thought in my wildest dreams, right, we'd be at over 370 doors.
Yeah.
I thought I would just want two properties. That's it.
Yeah. And you
And
start out and
it
just
just
for
took
that,
off.
you,
It
you
just took
start
off.
out.
And I think my mindset in that book really transitioned my mindset as well.
Yeah, yeah, and Grant has a very keen ability to transcend people's mindsets
Oh yeah.
towards a direction of greatness, really. And honestly, I've talked to the guy before, and I just don't quite understand at his age where he gets the energy that he has.
How old is he now?
Uh, he's mid 60s, I believe.
Oh wow.
And I may be aging him. He may hear that and get through the grapevine to him that I said that, but I'm almost quite certain that
He's
he's
north of
older.
60. Is that safe?
Yes,
Yeah.
he's older than what a lot of people think, and you know, I look, he's not much further than, or he's not much different age than my father, and my dad just, if he's anything, he's tired. It just seems like all the time.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm like, how does that guy just keeps pumping it out, and he just keeps going, and he just keeps getting more assets under management, and he just keeps rolling and rolling and rolling. But anyway, so tell us now. You had mentioned earlier that you were at one point in your life the in the raising the family uh, uh, segment, and what. So a lot of times people look back and they say, oh, when I ask this question, but what's the best trip that you've ever taken? Like where was your favorite destination, and how did that relate to where you were or where you were headed in life?
Europe, Italy. So
Oh, we were just talking about that.
yeah, it was. So I'm 48 years old now.
Okay.
The very first time I was in Italy was probably 12 years ago. I was probably in my late 30s,
Okay.
and I really, my family, my mom and dad were obviously born in a very small town in Italy,
Okay.
a couple hours south of Rome. And for years and years and years, I just really had zero interest to see Europe and, where my mom and dad actually started.
Yeah.
And finally, at 37, 38, however old I was then, it's probably around 37. I finally took the trip and I went back, or I went to the motherland and saw where my parents were born and met. I still got family there, uncles, aunts, cousins.
Sure.
And it really, really, it was incredible. And ever since then, I've been back every year. And what
Oh yeah.
resonated with me is just the culture there,
Yeah.
the culture and the way they, here we in Canada and obviously the States as well, but we work all the time, and it's always about, a lot of times it's always just work, 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 work.
Yep.
Um, like here we live to work, there they work to live, and they live
Yep.
and they enjoy themselves. They don't have a lot, and it really opened up my eyes to that. Like they don't have a lot at all. Very small little town in Italy. I mean, they have enough
But
to get by,
they're happy to have
but
what they do have.
and they enjoy it and they enjoy life.
Yep.
They do their siestas in the afternoon and all this jazz. They grow, everything in their garden, and
Yep.
it's just a lifestyle, and they really enjoy life. And
Yep.
money is not overly important as long as they have enough to put food on the table, this and that. So that really resonated with me, and it was like, wow, there's more to life. There's more to
Yeah.
life than just, you got to enjoy yourself too, right?
And just the hustle and the go 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 go. Um, I'll interject something just to further your point there. My wife and I were just in Italy, and then before that we were in France. But much like the area of France we were in was right at the Italian border, and so we drove up to a little mountain town, and we were sitting. We got there. We woke up at like 3 a.m. right, because we were just so screwed up on our sleep or whatever. So we were
Yeah.
like, let's just drive, and we had rented a car, and so we just drove up into the mountains right there, is right on the Italian line or Italian border, close to Monaco, and we got to this little town that was just basically everything was made of stone, And as we sat there, we went to this little coffee shop, and the coffee shop guys, you could tell there was the regular crowd in there who were residents of this little town. And basically the coffee shop started at whatever time that morning and went till, I would say, I'm going to just say 10 o'clock. And you drank coffee and ate croissants from whatever time it started before we got there till 10 o'clock. And then at 10 o'clock or 10:30 or 11 or whatever time it was somewhere along in that area, the coffee shop then starts to make this transformation into a bar slash lunch area. And everybody begins, the same guys that were sipping coffee that morning, now they begin to have cocktails. And then that goes until about 1. Then they close the whole place up.
Yeah.
Lock it all up from like 1 to 3, and that's their siesta.
That's their nap time.
And then 3 o'clock on, it's bar and dinner. And I was just like, I was so astonished I was like, how do these people get anything done? And then I thought, oh, they don't have to get anything done because this is what they do.
This is it.
And much the same. And it was such a sobering thought to think that exactly what you're saying about Southern Italy. I mean, it's that whole area through there. It just makes it really gives you a lot of perspective on life. So anyway, I didn't mean to take your story, but I love that.
Yeah, no, it's all good.
Somebody else that saw that and understands what's going on there. So
yeah.
Well, Adrian, listen, we're about out of time. I want you to tell the listeners how they can reach out to you if they have questions about maybe something they heard today, or if they have questions. I assume that I'm not quite sure the landscape of you taking on new investors or potentially even talking to new investors or whatever the case is. But how can people reach out to you if they feel that it's necessary?
Yeah, for sure. So the simplest, easiest way is shoot me an email, Adrian, ADRIAN at investwithepc.com. We're all over social media, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, put in my name, Adrian Pannozzo, or just Executive Properties Capital.
Yeah.
We're very, very searchable. So yeah, I mean, if there's anything I can do to help, if there's one thing you got today, and I repeat it again, if I can do it, and I came from zero background in business, I was a cop for 21 years. I didn't take any business education or real estate education or any of that. So if I can do it, you can do it.
Awesome, man. That's great. I don't know that there's better advice that we all hear. It seems like we hear that all the time. And the difference is whether somebody hears that and puts it into action and says, hey, exactly. I'm tired of being whatever it is today and going forward. So Adrian, thank you so much for your time. Again, we're always grateful for people that come and spend time with us and with our listeners. And we hope everybody has a wonderful rest of the day. Thank you.
Cheers.
Cashflow Pro is hosted by Casey Brown, founder and CEO of 3000 Capital, a commercial real estate investment firm committed to providing its investors with ongoing cash flow and helping them build long-term wealth. If you enjoyed today's podcast, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you'll be notified about all our future episodes. You can find more information about us and our investment philosophy by clicking the link in the show notes below. Thanks for listening.